Biden also said during the campaign that he will never deal with this pariah.
Yeah.
That he's going to treat Saudi Arabia as a pariah nation. He's not going to meet with this guy. He's not going to legit. Okay, nice statements. We're on your side, Joe. Go.
Fist bump.
Wait a minute, Joe. You got an economic problem here. Gas prices are too high, and we need the Saudis to increase oil production because we've committed suicide by sanctioning Russian energy. But how do you increase oil production if you don't go to the Saudis and ask? So he had to crawl on his knees. Now, he claims he went there to talk about Iran. Anybody who believes that, man, show me what you're smoking, because I've never smoked dope, but I might pick it up because it's got to be good. He didn't go there to talk about Iran. He went there to talk about oil. That's the most important thing. And, he fist bumped the dude. And then he, had a very cold discussion where he laid out the case of why America needed, and he basically expected Saudi Arabia to behave as Saudi Arabia had always behaved in the past, a compliant little poodle. But this time, MBS said something else. He said, I hear you. I know you want this 1 million barrel increase, but I don't get to make that decision by myself. It's July. In August, I'm meeting with OPEC Plus, and we'll make that decision there. OPEC Plus means Russia. It means that Saudi Arabia is saying, we're going to talk to the Russians about whether or not we're going to help your economy.
Stings.
And that should send a chill through Biden's spine. Now, the Russians, they didn't want to go for blood. They just, the Russians are sitting there saying, hey, you're restricting our access to the oil market. So we need to survive by having oil prices go up to compensate for the lack of volume. It's basic business 101. Even a Marine understands this. And so the Russians were like, we're not going to let you go up. We need to cut the price by 1 million. And the Saudis said, I'll do you one better, buddy. 2 million, because we don't like this guy. This guy we don't like. We're not here for him. This is the most important part. We don't fear him. We're not concerned about him. We're pivoting to the east. We now believe that our strategic interests lie with the viable markets and with people who don't threaten us. Because all the United States does is threaten. And the Saudis are fed up with it. So is the rest of the world. This is why Saudi Arabia is doing the unheard of. For a oil producing nation that is the sort of the centerpiece of the petrodollar.
Right.
Saudi Arabia is starting to sell oil for currencies that aren't the dollar in significant quantity. I think Saudi Arabia is just fed up with the United States, fed up with America, fed up with Joe Biden, fed up with the nonsense. And that's what's happening here. It's a thumb in the eye of America. And there's not anything America can do about it. Really, nothing. Think about it. We need Saudi Arabia. We've committed across the board. Israel. One of the key aspects of our relationship with Israel now is the Abrams Accord, bringing Israel into the Gulf Arab states. Now, we don't want to just give them the cheap seats. We want them sitting at the big table. The big table is run by Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. The entree there were these islands in the Red Sea that Egypt had been occupying, but now the Egypts are going to give back to the Saudis, but the Saudis have to make certain conditions about stationing of troops and things of that nature. But this looked like it was going to work. The Saudis weren't directly negotiating with the Israelis, but they were negotiating with the Egyptians as a middleman, and which means that there's active discussions between the two. Airplanes could fly in. I mean, stuff was happening. So is the United States going to throw that away? That's Iran.
That's a very good point.
We're positioning Saudi Arabia, to confront Iran. Are we now going to throw that away? So the United States is between a rock and a hard place. And I don't mean Iraq and a hard place. I mean a rock and a hard place. And they're also between Iraq and a hard place. But the point is, they're trapped by, the complexity of their policies where everything's interlinked, and they're trapped by the ridiculousness of their political leader, our political leader, Joe Biden. Anybody knows you can't sit there and insult the leader of a sovereign nation whose support you need desperately and expect to get that support. And so, yeah, Joe Biden's in a bind right now. I mean, he's depleting the strategic petroleum reserves.
Yeah.
He's, I mean, he's going to lose the election. And one of the reasons why his party's going to lose the election. One of the reasons is because of high energy prices and the inflationary, trends that are attached to that.